Good morning. One of the things I like the most about this church is the music. Is this on? Galen? Renae? They're telling me it's not loud enough. Okay. All right. Good. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. My name is Rebecca Howard. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a worship associate for the congregation. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Please sign our guest sign-in book in the foyer, where you can also sign up to receive church announcement emails. You can also speak with our greeter, Reverend Tina DeYoe, our greeter, Mike McNaughton, or Reverend Tina DeYoe, or myself for more information about our church. If you're watching online, hello, we're glad you're with us virtually. Please sign our virtual guest book that's in the notes below the worship video. You can also sign our virtual prayer book if you have a joy or sorrow to share with our community. Sorry. We have our Candles of Community area over here on my right, your left, I guess. You're invited to light a candle and write a joy or sorrow in our book to be read aloud during our prayer time and service. Please feel free to come up anytime before our prayer time or during, I think we sing a hymn before, but during is also okay. We have lots of worship options for young children. We have our activity table, which I see lots of kids there. Kids can stay seated with their parents or caregivers. We have our library quiet room and our nursery down the hall for kids 0 to 3 years old. Elizabeth Portillos would be happy to check in your young kiddos. Elizabeth's up here. We have lots of kids, youth, and adult programming throughout the week and on Sundays. Terra Louise is our Director of Lifespan Spiritual Enrichment and would be happy to talk to you more about these programs after the service. And announcements. Church announcements can be read weekly through your email, can also be found on our website, and some announcements can be found on the back of your worship program. Please make sure you're on our church announcements email list by signing up to receive these emails in our sign-in book in the foyer on our website. You can also just verbally tell Mike or me, and we'll try to make that happen. Our church announcements email comes out every Thursday at 12 noon. Please be on the lookout for that email to find out what's going on in our church community. Please go ahead and silence your cell phones this morning as we begin our worship service together. Today, we're highlighting a few announcements. Up there, yes. Today at 2:30, the teens will be meeting in the game piano room down the hall. Tomorrow, January 27th at 6 p.m. in the sanctuary, please join us for a UU Social Justice webinar with UU Congresswoman Judy Chu from California. Her talk is titled, The Path Forward to Meet the Moment. This Friday, our church sanctuary action team is hosting a community and sanctuary space for our church folks and folks from the LGBTQ+ and BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. This space will be in our fellowship hall from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please bring a snack to share and feel free to invite friends too. Come take a pause in community with others from doom scrolling. Then that same day in the evening, Friday, January 31st, you're invited to join church folks and Galen Gisler with his telescope to look up at the planet alignment happening right now. That'll be taking place at Overlook Park at 6 p.m. Location will be at the last picnic shelter before the actual overlook. And now we have a special announcement from the Spiritual Enrichment community about the UU 101 Forum today on spiritual enrichment programming for all ages.
Hello, I'm Terra, and I'm the Director of Spiritual Enrichment. And we've got a special presentation today we really hope that you'll attend, where we're going to be sharing all the different programs we have going on and and you'll have a place to ask questions and share feedback, and we have a lot of fun things. So Elizabeth and Aaron and Jamie and I will be presenting, and please, if you can, stay, because there's a lot of information and we want to be able to invite you and really to emphasize that the work that we're doing in spiritual enrichment is for all ages and for everyone. And so, so it's not just aimed at kids. So please come. Thank you.
And there'll be different snacks in addition to the yummy snacks in the fellowship hall right now. I would now invite us all to greet your neighbor by introducing yourself. Please remember that it is COVID cold and flu season, and if you'd rather just wave at people instead of shaking hands, that's okay. I will ring the chime to call us back. This is my, so, flaming chalice and bells. Yeah, sure. Do you want to?
You read it, yeah.
Oh, you want me to read
Well,
it?
yeah, after the call to worship, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, I'll just stay up here then.
Yeah, I'll do the call to worship. I'm going to do this, and then chalice lighting. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm the Reverend Tina DeYoe, and I use she, her pronouns. Welcome. We gather in worship to find meaning and to live more deeply. Worship creates connections within, among, and beyond us, calling us to be our better selves, calling us to live with wisdom and compassion. Our church theme for this month of January has been, and still is, the theme story. This is our last Sunday in January, so we'll be switching our theme next month. And so today, we will be exploring our own personal stories using the 6-word story method. We know that sharing stories is an important part of our lives. We share stories with each other to learn, to build relationships and friendships, to look for common connections, to show mercy and compassion, to have empathy for one another, and to grow our hearts. This morning, you will have the chance to write or draw your 6-word story or stories and share it with those sitting near you. More to come on that. That's why you have sticky notes and pencils on your seats. So more instructions will come. But we will be sharing our personal stories today in our worship service. So let us now gather in worship together this morning as we light our chalice. And Jocelyn, I think you're coming to light our chalice? Yeah, thank you.
So in keeping with our service this morning, we have, it's not a technical, I guess it's technical, but it's not technology. We have a little problem with our candle. We have a 6-word chalice lighting. Flaming chalice invites hope and sanctuary. Thanks, Jocelyn.
So you are invited now to rise in body and or spirit and sing our opening hymn. It is number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath. Please remain standing and join us in our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each and with all. Please be seated.
Comes next. This month's Share the Plate offering goes to the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, the UUSC. Funds will go towards advancing their mission. UUSC advances human rights and social justice around the world, partnering with those who confront unjust power structures and mobilizing to challenge oppressive policies. Our work is grounded in the belief that all people have inherent power and dignity. All cash and undesignated funds that are received will go directly to this organization. Please feel free to use the QR code for the Givelify app on the screen. May what you give bring you joy.
In this world there's a whole lot of trouble, baby. In this world there's a whole lot of pain. In this world there's a whole lot of trouble, but a whole lot of ground to gain. Why take when you could be given? Why watch as the world goes by? It's a hard enough life to be living. Why walk when you can fly? a whole lot of sorrow. In this world, there's a whole lot of shame. In this world, there's a whole lot of sorrow and a whole lot of ground to gain. When you spend your whole life wishing, watching and wondering why it's a long enough life to be living, why when you can fly. In this world, there's a whole lot of pain. In this world, you've a soul for a compass and a heart for a pair of wings. There's a star on the far horizon, rising bright in an azure sky. For the rest of the time that you're given, why when you can fly?
Like I said, music. Thank you for your generosity this morning. May these gifts help to advance justice and equity in our community and in our world. Thank you.
So during this time, you are invited to come up to our candles of community space over here, light a candle, and write a joy or sorrow in our book if you would like. Joys and sorrows that are written will then be read aloud. So during this time, we'll be singing hymn 168. Or is that right? No. 86, sorry. Blessed Spirit of my life. So you are invited to come up now and or sing our meditation song. Thank you all. Candles have been lit today for church member Kathy Hayes, who will be undergoing Tarlov cyst removal surgery this week in Dallas, which will hopefully help reduce her pain. So we lift her up today and this week. We also lift up Nylea, undergoing surgery as well this week to remove a tumor from her spine. Safety, warmth, community, and for those who don't have these. January 27th, happy 75th birthday to Valerie Rose Adams, Mimi's mother, John's former wife. You were remarkable and wonderful and are missed by many. For all those unsheltered in the cold. Protection for Ursula while family is away. I'm thankful for the people who love me and took me in. You know who you are. I love you so much. Candle of resilience for the Los Alamos BIPOC community. May we overcome all that's being thrown at us. Grateful to be able to go through struggles with friends and family by my side. May all of these joys and sorrows, spoken, unspoken, those that remain in the silence of our hearts, be lifted up this morning and this day. So let us gather now for a time of meditation, prayer, reflection, whatever you may like to call it. And this is a prayer entitled The Symphony of Life by Douglas Taylor. Eternal Spirit, from whom all things come and to whom all things return, we gather this morning in community, seeking to live in the harmony. Each of us here gathered lives out our lives knowing our own story, our own private melody. Life, at its highest and its sweetest, is a sharing. Life is a sharing of our melodies, of our love and interest, of our yearning and questions. We gather this morning as individuals creating harmony in community together. May our different ways of knowing and naming the holy blend together. May our voices be added to the holy chorus of life. And may we practice our scales that we may better improvise and recognize where we come in when it is our time. The world is rife with discord and trouble. Injustice and suffering weigh us down and trip us up and stop our voices. May we learn to trust in love, in our own voices, in the trembling faith of our forebears, to trust that we have a part in this symphony and we can join this chorus and bring some beauty to the cacophony around us. May there be times of gentle tones and soothing melodies. May there be rhythms upon which we can rely to rally our spirits at need. May there be teachers and bandmates, fans and good companions to help call our best music out of us. May there be moments when we are transported. Moments when we discover we are not playing the music so much as the music is flowing through us. The music is playing us. O Spirit of life, may our song be among the songs of the Spirit. May there be beauty in our song and in our living. May there be meaning and power in our song. And may our individual voices blend into the chorus that is Thee, O Spirit. This we ask in the name of all that is holy. May it be so. And now I would like to invite all the young and young at heart to come up for our Time for All Ages story with Terra.
Good morning. I love to share stories, and today I've got a story about the importance of stories. So, it's the wisdom story, the Storyteller, written by April Rosario. Once upon a time, long, long ago, in a small village lived a wise woman known as the Storyteller. She had been a part of the village for as long as anyone could remember, but no one actually knew where she was from. It didn't matter, though. Everyone in the village loved her and sought her out because she was known to have the best stories in all the land. She had a story for everything. Stories for times of joy, times of sorrow, triumph, and loss. Stories for when you were hurt or excited. Stories that taught about love and stories that shared wisdom about what to do when you were afraid. Every night, she would light her fire and wait for folks to join her. And every night they did, one at a time, to ask for the kind of stories they needed to hear. When she was done, the villagers would often ask her if there was anything they could give her as a payment for her stories. And her answer was always the same. Yes, she would say, you can tell me a tale from your life. But the villagers rarely did. Most often they would leave her a small homemade gift instead and kept their own stories close, fearing judgment or ridicule. One day, a young man, burdened by a painful past, approached the Storyteller. He had lost his horse in a tragic accident, and the weight of his grief was more than he could bear. He pleaded with her to share a story that might offer him some peace. The Storyteller, with a gentle smile, replied, "The most powerful stories are not the ones we hear, but the ones we tell. Your story, though heavy, holds the key to healing." Hesitantly, the young man began to share his tale of loss, his voice trembling with emotion. As he spoke, the Storyteller listened attentively, her eyes reflecting a deep understanding. And as villagers passed by her fire, they paused to hear the young man and what he was saying. The Storyteller motioned for them to sit down, and they did, one after another, more and more. When he finished, the Storyteller shared a story of her own, a tale of a young girl who had also had a loss in her life, but found strength in sharing her grief with others. When she finished, another villager shared a story, and then another, and then another. As the night went on and the fire burned hot and bright, they began to realize that their pain was not unique, that others had walked similar paths, and that by sharing their own stories, they could offer comfort and support to each other. Support for people who might be struggling in silence. The next morning, the Storyteller was gone. and by her fire was the note that read, "You don't need me anymore, for you have each other, and together you have more stories than you will ever need if you just remember to share them." From that day on, each of the villagers took turns at night, lighting the fire and sharing their stories. The story circles grew and grew until eventually the whole village was there, taking turns, listening and sharing stories for time of joy, times of sorrow, triumph, and loss. This story reminds us how deeply stories and relationships are connected. I'm grateful for the time that I've been here, how many more of your stories I've gotten to know. And just like the friendships that exist in our community, right? As we share stories. So as the storyteller taught the villagers, our stories, even the difficult ones, hold immense power when shared. By opening ourselves up to vulnerability, we create connections and friendships, better ways of understanding each other and ourselves. So in the week ahead, may all of us hold on to this story as a reminder to take a risk and tell more stories for the sake of deeper friendships. So now I'll invite the kids to go back to the intention table, but starting next week, we're going to have special activities after Times for All Ages. So we'll share more about that at the presentation later. Thank you.
Believing me, you'd think I was lying. Joy and sorrow never last. I'll die trying not to live in the past. If you knew my story, my heaven and my hell, if you a good story to tell. I left my clothes on that cold river rock, my cares and my woes rolled up in my socks. I lay down in that mountain stream, and that icy water rushed over me. If you knew my story, my heaven and my hell, if you tell me I'm not alone. Tell me I'm not alone. Many backs have broken from lesser weight, I know. I was born to carry more than I can hold. Even though I stumble, even though I fall, you'll never see me crumble, you'll never see me crawl. If you knew my story, drew the water from my well, if you knew my story, you'd have a good story to tell. Me I'm not alone. Tell me I'm not alone.
Everyone has a story. You just have to ask. So today, we are going to be exploring and sharing our personal stories. Sharing our stories is an important part of our lives. Sharing stories with one another goes back to our first ever human ancestors, sharing stories with one another around the campfire. We are a storied people with a storied past. Stories help us learn and grow. Stories help us understand one another and grow our empathy skills. When we hear one another's stories, we deepen our connections in community. When we listen to other people's stories, we grow our skills for compassion and kindness. When we tell our stories, our voice and perspective is heard, and it's powerful. So during this time, we are going to hear from Larry Smith, who helped launch the 6-word memoir project online. Then we will hear a few examples of 6-word stories from members of our congregation. After these folks share, you will then be invited to think about your 6-word story and write it down or draw it on your sticky notes. You have a few, so you can, if you mess up, that's okay. You have got another one. Or if you have more. So then you will, after you take a few minutes, we'll pause and take a few minutes for you all to write those down. And then after, you will be given time to share your 6-word story with 3 or 4 people sitting around you. And then you can use this phrase after each of you have shared your 6-word story if you'd like. Tell me more. So feel free to go a little deeper on the meaning behind your 6 words with your group if you would like. And before you leave the sanctuary after the service is finished, you are invited to stick your 6-word story up on the doors to the worship closet for folks to read. I put a couple of mine already up there. And also write your name on your story if you'd like. So let us now, we're going to watch the intro to this 6-word story time. And this is from Larry Smith. And if I can get the sound to go all the way So now I would like to ask our members who are coming up here to share their 6 words to come on up. Come on up. So I'm going to share a couple of my 6-word stories, and these folks are going to share some of theirs too. And you could turn the lights back on too if you want. Thanks. So my 6-word story, one of them is ruby slippers, sport shoes, sandals, boots. And then my other one is sun worshiper, rainbow chaser, hope-filled activist. All right, I would like to invite Aaron. Come on up.
Let's see. I wrote a bunch as part of Soul Matters last week, and I'll read a couple. Lots of changes, endurance, and work. These young people demand my best. Is this the middle or beginning?
Thank you. Kelly.
My name is Kelly now.
Are you, oh, are you sharing yours too? Yeah, okay, Amelia's gonna share too.
Okay. My first one is, if you're tired, why wake up? And the second one, do you know the Muffin Man?
That's awesome.
I'm Kelly. I brought Amelia for a little levity because mine got all serious. I found it hard to tell a story with them. They kind of came out like inspirational nuggets or something. My parents were wrong about me. And then my other one, our love is the only shortcut. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patrick. Attempting a hobby speedrun, any %.
Yeah, say it one more time. It was so fast. You were so fast.
It's 6 words. It's 6 words. Attempting a hobby speedrun, any %.
80%?
Any %.
8%. Okay. Oh, good.
Cool. Thank you.
I wrote a bunch too, and you'd think we wouldn't really need a cheat sheet to tell a 6-word story, but I'll tell you 2 of mine. 2 brothers, 2 parents, and me. Ultimate being begins and ends where?
I've got 2, and they're both numbers too. But so, 6 parents, 4 kids, 2 grandkids, and red, brown, green, blue, 27 suitcases.
Thank you all for sharing. And now is the fun part where you all get to think for a couple minutes. Nyla's going to play us some nice music. Thank you, Nyla. And think about your own 6-word story and write it down or draw it on your sticky notes. And you can write 1 or 2, and if you mess up, you got a couple extra. And then I'll call us back, and you can share in a group sitting close to you. So go ahead, think about your 6-word story now. Thank you for the lovely music. So now, if you're sitting around some folks, kind of gather up with them. 3, 4, 5 people is fine. But yeah, I try to keep the group small so everyone can share their 6-word stories. And you guys have in the library some sticky notes back there too. You found them? Okay, cool. And the sound booth. So you guys ask each other, what's your story? And so we'll share for a few minutes. So thank you all. I'm going to ring our chime to bring us back.
Everyone.
So there's so much more to these 6-word stories. And I know a lot of us are sharing the tell me more part of that 6-word story, right? So as you go from here today, continue to share more. Ask people's 6-word stories. Hear more. Continue to engage people and their stories as you go out from here, and share more in the coffee hour if you want. Keep telling your stories together. So thank you all for telling and sharing some of your stories today. I know it was a short period of time, so again, that's why I continue to ask you all to continue to share those going out. So please stand in body and or spirit now as we sing our closing hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life. So remember to, sticky note up those worship closet doors with your stories as we go out today. And just remember to always ask, what's your story? May it be so. And let us now gather and sing our song and our closing song, and let us hold hands if you would like.